Hello, this is Quang Huynh, Premium Finance Broker of CWF Group and also the author of Keep Calm and Mortgage On. This week, very interesting week. Last week, been getting a lot of inquiries from a developer who has about 100 units and about 10 are sold to FIRBs, which is Foreign Investment Review Boards purchases. So basically non-residents. So the thing that the government's been trying to target on, non-residents, non-local, they're not in Australia, they're overseas buyers. So this is more of a video for people who know those people or for agents who have a lot of non-resident buyers but then also want them to settle rather than rescind their contract. Okay, so is there lending for non-resident people? Yes, there is, and there are many options. Now, one of those options are for non-resident, non-resi lending, is one of them is either we can go with a mortgage manager, so they're non-banks, but they're not private funders, okay? More like mortgage managers, and they do up to 60%, okay? Now, depending where you're from, can be from 60 to 70%, okay? Depending where you're from. Now, there's a bit of a sort of stereotype from the bank. If you're from China, then it's 60%. If you're not from China, you can go up to 70%. Basically because there's a lot of, shifty work going on around those people who buy from China, from the bank's point of view. Not my point of view, I don't really care where they buy from, but the rule is 60% for those from China. Now, there is another option, right? Because this and also same 60%, but this is a much quicker option. This one is based on security. Doesn't look this one is just based on the security, which means there's no documentation. This one, there is some documentation. Obviously, this one, you need 6 months of bank statements, so salary, pay slips, and everything that is in that country has to be translated. And there has to be an employment check in that country. This one, no docs required. The catch is, this one is around 9 to 10%, actually 9 to 12%, plus maybe a 2 to 3% risk fee of the loan. This is, you're looking at about maybe 6.9 to 7.5%, plus a risk fee from 1.5 to 2.5%. Depending on how desperate you are, you'll probably go for this option. But if clients somehow in their country they don't do payment in terms of salary, then you're sort of killed this area. That sometimes they don't get pay slips, or sometimes they might have been self-employed and they don't sort of show or done their tax in that country, or they haven't done certain what they call it, bank transfers to show that you're actually getting that salary, which means your most convenient option is, and also most expensive option is this option. Okay, this is only for 2 years. It's only a temporary measure. Then you ask them to refinance if they get their permanent resident. This one is better. It's 30 years. Okay, 30 years. So, like I said, non-resident lending is possible, okay, but 60% only for those from the Chinese area, okay? I'm talking about in China. Now, if you're not from there and different countries, can consider up to 70%. But for a quicker option, which is the second option, doesn't matter where you're from, maximum 60%, okay? Now, a lot of clients who've done it with me half choose the first option because they have this and it's cheaper. half choose this option because it can't be stuffed. Okay, now you might say, hey, that's a bit expensive, but for your client, if they don't proceed, they'll lose 10%. Okay, lose 10%, and that is much more expensive than that option, because at least they settle on this option, and if they decide to sell, they can sell it in 2 or 3 months and make a profit to cover their loss. Okay, so there is non-resi lending out there. We've been doing a lot of them, and obviously it depends where they go. Obviously, your clients might be so rich and stashed up they pay it with cash, but how likely is that? So in summary, non-resi lending is possible, and hook us up if you have any inquiries. In the meantime, keep calm and mortgage on.